Hi, everyone. It's Dr. Alfie here. I have a new mic. I want to say shouts out to my friend Shira Lazar for encouraging me to go dig out the mic so my big apparatus is not sitting in front of my face the whole time. So briefly today, we're going to talk about loving someone who has trauma exposure, but make it self-care. What's different about this episode, this is episode 3 in a series. I think I'm going to do 4 of these and then I'm going to move on to the next series. But what's unique about this is I've talked about trauma exposure before, but what's different is this time I'm going to talk about self-care for yourself when you're dealing with your own trauma, but you also love someone who's got exacerbated stress or mental illness, depression, and or anxiety because they're dealing with their trauma. So as always, we talk quickly about a scenario, and then we talk about how we take care of ourselves. So this scenario has to do with what I witnessed the other night on the interview that everyone saw with Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. Why is that important? Because they both were dealing with trauma. Prince Harry, a long history of traumatic experiences that most of us are familiar with. And for Meghan Markle, her more current experiences of the racist, sexist, nationalist, and many other kinds of abuses that she was subjected to, as she described in her interview with the Ms. Oprah Winfrey. So when you love someone who has their own trauma, the example being when Prince Harry talked about coming home to Meghan, she's in tears nursing her baby. He's in tears because of what she's relaying to him about how she's struggling with her own mental health. That can be a super difficult situation. Unfortunately, it's a situation that a lot of us find ourselves in. So what do you do? Well, one of the most important things we can do is set boundaries. We have to set boundaries that allow us to identify when we have to be the one offering the help versus when we need to be the one asking for help, right? That may change in the course of an hour. That may change in the course of a day. That may change over the course of an extended period of time. But the most important thing is to know, when do I need to take a step back and stop trying to be the one to be the helper? And when do I need to take a step back and be the person who asks for help? By the same token, when am I in a place where I feel strong enough to be the person to go offer the help without my partner asking for it, right? When I can see that my partner is down, when I can see that my partner is struggling, whether it's your partner or your friend or whomever it is. So setting boundaries is key. The second thing is, like I always say, right, we're talking about self-care. Self-care means that we have to recognize when we're out of our depth in terms of offering help. Also, when we're out of our depth in terms of our need to seek help for ourselves. When is it time to go see someone, right? Now, if we happen to be a member of a marginalized community who thinks, oh, I'm never going to do that, I hope we're not. But if we are, then we have to do things in the interim until such time as we allow ourselves to be ready to access more professional forms of care. So what does that look like? You know, I'm always talking about meditation. It also looks like leaning on a friend who's not your spouse or your partner, or who's not the friend who's struggling, a strong friend who in the moment is able to offer some support to you. It also looks like the things we always talk about: watching our sleep hygiene, watching how we eat, making sure that we exercise. And sometimes that exercise is less about trying to be physically fit and more about trying to get rid of your stress. So that setting boundaries and engaging in active coping in all the ways that I've described are all super important. Finally, I think one of the most important things we can do is always give ourselves breaks. So say, for example, you get into a conversation with your partner, just going back to the example that Prince Harry and the Duchess shared during their interview. When he came in, she was crying, he was crying, everybody was crying, the baby was probably crying because the baby was nursing. That's the time to take a moment and have a beat, and to just say openly to your partner, I am here for you. Just give me 5 minutes to compose myself and I will come back. Right? That's one of the most important things you can do, is to be honest with your partner about where you are in your own journey, sometimes in the moment. So if you can do those things, practice active coping, set boundaries, open your mouth and articulate what you're able to give to your partner or your friend or whomever that loved one is, or what you need from your partner or your friend or your loved one, I think that can go a long way towards helping both you who may have experienced trauma. Many of us have. Your loved one who may also have experienced trauma, and the downstream impacts of trauma exposure as they impact our mental health. So I hope this is helpful for you. And as always, I'm wishing you lots of love, lots of light, and hoping it is always informed by good, culturally relevant science. Take care.